G'day guys, welcome back to Supercoach with DR and welcome to the round 18 review. Well, from a Supercoach sense, the regular season is now over. It is Supercoach finals time, so if you've managed to sneak into the top 8, even top 4 for some of your leagues, and congratulations. For some teams it's going to be tough, particularly those teams with no trades left. As you can see, I'm now a member of the No Trades Club. It's not a great feeling, but at least I did get to field 21 out of 22 primos this week. Next week, fingers crossed, I don't think I'm in trouble with any injuries at the moment. I should be able to field all 22 primos, but I'll show you my leagues in a sec. And hey, I may have actually played you last week. There were a couple of tight matches that I found myself in, but look, for my round score, it was 25-14. And luckily enough, I did manage to actually move up in the ranks, up 67 spots, which was a little bit of a surprise for me. Now ranked at 233. So I'm actually, quite surprised, as I said. I thought that, I may be struggling this week to keep that top 300 rank. And even a couple of weeks ago, when the injury carnage started coming through and I knew that I'd be probably running out of trades at this stage, I thought, geez, fingers crossed I can just hit the top 1,000. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with that. And I suppose the goal now is to try to even get into the top 200. It's going to be a really, really tough job. And why I say that is because I've got no trades, so there's no real moves that I can make. And I've got the 22 primos that I'll keep on field if they're healthy, if they're not injured. And I've basically got 3 blokes as cover. My cover's pretty good at the moment. But look, what's going to happen if I get 2 to 3 injuries, particularly on the one line, then I'm going to be copping some donuts. But Supercoach gods, please be kind. Please be kind. I don't know if they like me after my sacrifice last week. But look, we'll move on to it. So is there anything else to say? Total points now, what's that? 42,671. Yeah, not too bad. I know that the top team M's plus 43 at the moment, so just outstanding from her. But top 200 is now the aim. Can I get there? Fingers crossed, I hope so. I'll quickly just show you the leagues that I'm involved in as well. So you can see there, second, first. Played Dazza this week, so well done, Daz. Just managed to get over the line, mate. Lucky week from me. George as well, played him in Spills League. Just managed to get over the good man. Shout out to George. Love George's content. Terrific bloke, as we all know. Did play my wife in the family league. So my wife is a big super coacher as well. And I don't know if I've told you, but she actually helps me a lot with the stock market videos. She is the Seagulls Chips, third in the family league as well. So just managed to scrape past her. Tay there in the other cash league and a couple of big footy leagues as well. That's another goal for me, actually. I'm currently, I think, 7th or 8th overall for Brisbane Lions supporters. So when I did have my best overall rank of 33rd, I was actually the number 1 Brisbane Lions supporter for that year. So I'd love to see if I could get in the top 5 for that. That's a bit of a goal for me. But let's have a look at how the team is actually going. I'll have to zoom out a little bit. 10 out of 10 league wins. Really lucky there. So I'll just zoom out a little bit. There we go. So look, there's not a heap to say because obviously I've got no trades left in the bank, but quick team review. The other thing is I didn't watch basically any footy this week. I did have a visit to the dentist and absolutely knocked me out. So I was all over the shop, and I was actually going to upload a funny video that my wife did film of me, but I couldn't bear to do it. It was pretty embarrassing. Maybe for the bloopers video one time or at the end of the year. We'll see how we go. But look, in the defence, Tommy Stewart, 118 there. Beautiful, Tommy. Thank you very much, mate. Just keep that up and I'll be really happy for the end of the season. Jordan Ridley, 115. Again, certainly can't complain with this. These are the scores that we want to see from Ridley. After a poorer sort of a game last week, really happy that he bounced back. The Seagull, right on 100, so that ceiling, that's gone. But if he can hit 3 figures, we certainly can't complain. Look, I think with any of our defenders at the moment, if they can reach the 100 mark at this stage of the season, it's not a complete disaster, even if they go just on the 100 like Seagulls got. Shorty, 89. We thought with Hawley out that, we may be seeing pretty regular hundreds from here. Only 11 points off, but Richmond is a team. Not going too well, are they? Lockie Whitfield absolutely saved my round on the Sunday. 146 points. I know some teams actually traded him out. And I could see why. He was really frustrating some coaches, but he really made up for missing last week with that 146, and only in about 15% of teams at the moment, so still a relative pod, so wrapped with what Lockie Whitfield did. Stephen May, 62. We've seen a few of these throughout the season after it was 4 to 5 weeks of 100 plus, but last couple he's gone down a little bit. Not really sure what happened here, but did he take less of the kickouts? Did he have more of an accountable role? That may have been the case, but look, 62 from May is disappointing, but just got to cop that in the chin. Bianco 62, so exactly the same as May. If you did need cover this week with a Bianco, then 62 isn't the end of the world because he's been given some 30 and 40s during the season, so you take that. Briggs wasn't available due to the COVID factor, but look, he may even come back this week. I'm not too sure if he gets a game. Hopefully he does. Sammy Walsh, wasn't this disappointing? So 81, you wouldn't believe this. If I'd have seen that score of 81, I would have thought, nice half, Sammy. Now bring it home for 160. But yeah, absolutely terrible from Walsh. And I know that a fair few people, including the number one ranked Supercoach, did actually have Walsh as captain. So really disappointing from Sammy. But look, give the young man a break. After the last 2 weeks that he's had, we can expect, well, not expect, but I can cop it anyway. I can cop this one anyway. But bad luck, Sammy. He will bounce back, this bloke. He's a proud man. He'll bounce back. The captain this week for me was Jack Macrae. When I saw the weather over there, this man just loves playing in the wet. He's just such a safe option for me. I was even contemplating Clary at one stage. Merritt was never really an option. Titch was the other one that I was taking a really, really close look at. At the end of the day, it was out of Titch and Jack Macrae. And to be honest, I didn't think I'd even need my captaincy. I was really, really confident on the Walsh pick as vice-captain this week. But yeah, it just goes to show that your best laid plans could just be completely unravelled with a bad game from a particular player. But yeah, Macrae for me was a terrific captain this week, a 146. Love to bank that because I have been a little bit off with my captaincy picks in the last couple. Titch 111. This is actually disappointing because I think it was about halfway through the third quarter. He was on 100, so I'm not sure why he finished with only the 111. I didn't actually watch too much of the match, obviously, so yeah, not too sure about that. But at the end of the day, again, it's a 110 plus from Titch. He's been a really good trade-in selection if you've got him in the last 2 months, I think. Rory Laird, a 178. Now, the only unfortunate thing about Laird is the fact that everyone has him. So everyone really copped that 178. If you didn't, I don't know why you don't have him in your side. There is absolutely no excuses not to have this man, particularly given the fact he's a mid and a defender. You've just got to have him. I think everyone does anyway, but a 178, just absolutely fantastic. I did have him in my VC captain loop not long ago, and it wasn't the week for him, but I think he's actually a genuine option. Well, yeah, the average says that anyway, doesn't it? And yeah, really big ceiling from Rory Laird, which is great. Piggy, right back in form now. So his last couple of weeks, he went a 130 odd last week, a 144 this week. He was on track for a 200 plus. I really thought that that's what he ended up scoring, but slowed down a little bit. Ball use wasn't great, but look, the fact that he got the ball, the fact that he won the contested ball, particularly in the first half, it was just absolutely outstanding. So, yeah, absolutely wrapped from Clary, and glad that I've got him for the last 4 weeks of the season. Zeret, yeah, talk about, on fire at the start of the game. I think it was 10 possessions in the first term, but just switched off like a few of the other Essendon midfielders did. Parrish had a terrible game, but he was getting a hard tag. There's no real excuse for Merritt. And there were times where it just looked like he was jogging, so a little bit disinterested, which I'm surprised about because it was a huge game for the Essendon Football Club against the Giants. But yeah, really disappointed from Zeret. Hopefully this man bounces back this week. Kelly, just the fact that he ended up getting up to play, I'm happy with. And 85, again, isn't ideal, but I thought he was a bit ripped off in his third quarter. I thought that was a lot better than the 16, 18-point quarter than what he got. But look, at the end of the day, he played. And who would have had Poulter there? So 63, 85. I'm still making 22 points there. So just thankful that he got up this week. Could have been a bit of a disaster. Trav Boak, I'll use one of George's phrase. It is what it is. It's just okay. 102. Yeah, what do you do with that? Wish I hadn't have done this. I repeat myself every week. I shouldn't have traded out Brayshaw. Way too buy-focused, but well, I'll talk about my lessons in my end-of-year review, and Boak will be a big part of that, I think. Poulter, wrapped to see him play again. Decent game from him, 63. If he can do that, every week from here, and I need him as cover, then I'll take that, I think. Has chucked out a couple of 40s in recent times. Didn't even play a couple of weeks ago. Was he medical sub? Was it last week, I think, from memory? So the fact that he's just playing at the moment is fantastic for me. Collingwood dealing with a few injuries, so I'm very, very sure that he keeps his spot. Newcomb is not Bramble, so that's disappointing. And Fife, obviously, the loophole, didn't need to use him. Now into the rucks and the forwards. I haven't even mentioned who I got in the forward line this week. There were some absolute disasters, weren't there? How did it work out for me? Yeah, well, I'll show you in a minute. But on to the rucks. So, I can see him there. We'll get to him. Well, I'll show you the forward line anyway. There we go. So in the rucks, so Grundy, look, you can't really trust him as a vice captaincy or a captaincy option anymore, can you? 85, extremely disappointing. But again, it is what it is. Gawn a 125, so great to see him bounce back with a half-decent score. Average on the season now is 120.5, has actually overtaken Grundy. I didn't think that would be the case. I thought Grundy would have his measure. But I haven't even checked out what Darcy's averaging. He must be very, very close to being up with these blokes, if not pass them at this stage. Edwards as a loop, didn't need him this week, but really, really handy having him there as that R3 loop. We've seen what's happened to some teams, particularly, when Mills was out for that week, Green was out for that week. If you're using loopholes in other areas, particularly for your captaincy, then that can bite you on the butt if there are any late outs, with particularly the Sunday matches. But just something to think about for next season anyway. But on to the forward line now. Patrick Dangerfield, a 165, is another bloke that I was tempted to chuck the captaincy on, but I thought, nah, not this week. I thought that his ceiling may not be as high as it was this year, but we've seen a few massive scores from Dangerfield already. So what a trade in. Absolutely brilliant Dangerfield for me. So 614,000 now. I don't know what his average for me, but it's been really, really healthy. So super with that. Remember, I did actually start with Dangerfield at the start of the year. Then I had to trade him out. So he has been, I think, the only player that I've traded out and then traded back in. So that's worked out really, really well for me. Zorko's just been extremely disappointing. Mr. 700k a month ago, 565,000 now. And I did predict that this would happen. I did predict that he'd really slow up. I didn't think it would be this low. I was still thinking, 100 to 105 type scores. But over the last 3 weeks, he has just not delivered. So for people such as George that's banking against Zorko at the moment, fantastic for you, but terrible for owners. Just really, really frustrating. This man isn't frustrating. Aaron Hall. I bang on about him. He's been my favourite selection of this year, my favourite trade-in. I just love everything about the selection. Durability we were a little bit worried about, but that just hasn't been the case this year. Well, when I say this year, after I brought him in, there was a couple of games earlier on where he missed out, but since I've had him, he's just consistently delivered, and my advice since I've brought him in, which is 10 weeks ago, has been just bring this man in. And if you had to listen to that advice that I've been given every week, I'm probably annoying people and just bang on about Aaron Hall a little bit too much, I think. But if you had to take on that advice, you just would have been really, really pleased with that. Just delivers every week. Zeeble, 89, a little bit lower. Everyone's got him, though, as the pairing, again, almost got to that 120 mark, 5 points off. 220 mark with the combo. Not quite there this week, but very close. And this is a man that I did end up going with. It was Jordan De Goey. So realistically, there were 3 options in the end that I was looking at. Probably 4. The 4th one was Bolton, but I thought, there's something about him that I'm just a little bit worried about. And given the fact that he was that cheaper price, I did want to spend the majority of my money. That isn't always the best strategy. You end up just going for the best player when you got one trade left at the end of the day. But skipped Bolton. So then it was out of Dale, Hawkins and De Goey. So Dale I decided against as that safer type of a pick, because I thought, look, given the fact I'm around the 300 mark, I just want to risk it for the biscuit, try to go as far as I can up the rankings. So Dale as a safe pick, that's probably the usual advice that I'd give is if you got one trade left, don't ever go with a bloke like De Goey, NDHP policy, durability, etc. Go with your safer pick like Dale, but I thought I'm just going to go against that, just go for a higher rank if I can. And Hawkins was the other one that I was seriously considering as well. But I ended up going with De Goey because of that midfield role. I knew that Hawkins didn't know that I predicted Hawkins would have a pretty solid match this week and next week against North. But with De Goey, still got 25 touches, kicked a goal. I think he was on about 38 points at quarter time. So that could have been an anything game from him. And at the end of the day, I'm not really disappointed that I traded him in. I still think that De Goey and Hawkins were the better options. I know that Freo tragic. I hope that you went through with this, mate, if you're watching, brought in Taron Thomas. So a real inspired selection by you, mate. I hope that you end up going there as well. So congratulations if you did. But if you look at some of the other options as well, Hines, he was really disappointing. Stringer was disappointing. Could be an absolute nightmare if you end up going with Buddy. He could be missing for a week. I'm not too sure what's going to happen there. So really, at the end of the day, even, oh man, it's getting towards the end of the season, isn't it? But at the end of the day, Jordan De Goey, I think, was still a pretty good selection. And an 80 isn't ideal, but if you do compare that 80 with some of the other scores that other people bought in, then it's okay. It's okay, I think. So, Jordan, please deliver for me this week. I'd really appreciate that. Big Rowan, he's back this week, so that's going to be massive for me. I did have Madden, though, as the emergency, and he pulled out a 66. So, can't complain again with a 66. That was what my 3 emergencies got, around that 60 to 70 mark. So, I'll take that from Madden. So that was a pretty decent just for the 1 week fill-in. The great thing this week is the fact that I'm not dealing with any injuries. I'm pretty sure anyway at this stage. And Saunders obviously being the other bloke there. It's F8 as that loophole. So that is the team, and that is how we're going to finish off the year. So we've got Stewart, Ridley, Lloyd, Short, Whitfield, and May. Pretty happy with that, to be quite honest. The big omission there is obviously Cal Mills. In the midfield, Walsh, McRae, Titch, Laird, Oliver, Zeret, Jelly, and Boak. Again, the top 6 I'm okay with. Kelly's been an okay trade-in for me, but what's obviously the big omission here? It's Jack Steele, it's the Bond, it's Jared Lyons. They're probably the major 3, but the one that hurts the most out of anyone is actually Touk Miller, because he was the pod that I really, really liked really early on the season, and was so close to bring him in on multiple occasions, but for one reason or another, circumstantial, injuries, etc., I just couldn't get him in. So that's the big thing that hurts there. It's not a great midfield. If I had a couple of Uber Primos in here, and another one I'm missing is obviously Parrish. Terrible game over the weekend, but he's been super. If I had a couple of extra Ubers there, then I'd be probably well entrenched inside the top 200, if not pushing to that top 100, I think. And obviously a little bit of luck here and there with injuries, but everyone cops that. You can't use that as an excuse. The rucks, well, I said from the start of the year, there's nothing else that I'd planned on doing. Ideally, you'd have a Sean Darcy here in place of one of these blokes. But Grundy, sorry, I did mention Danger was the only one that I traded out and traded back in. Grundy was the other bloke there. I ended up trading out for a period of time. That did hurt me a little bit, but it did allow me to do a couple of other things. So, roundabouts and swings there, or swings and roundabouts, depending on which way you want to say it. And the forward line, Danger, Zorko, Hall, Zeeble, De Goey, and Marshall. Can't believe I ended up with De Goey there, but I think he's a pretty good selection at this stage. Danger, great. Zorko's been really good for me for the most part. Hall, I've already talked about and will bang on about for the rest of the year. Zeeble, terrific. I started with him at the mid 200 mark. De Goey, I mentioned, and Marshall's been a recent trade-in. Great for his first week with the 127. Missing last week, but hopefully he'll bounce back. Even if he was a little bit sore the week before, I suppose that's a good sign. The only thing I don't like is the fact that I don't know if he's been able to run. I heard that he's been doing a little bit of work on the bikes, but not the same as running, I know. But at the end of the day, I'm fairly happy with the side. A few things I'd like to change, but it is what it is. No trades, and that's how we're going to be running for the rest of the season. So, hope you went well, guys. With the stock market video, it's getting less and less relevant, so I'll sort of see what I'm doing with that. Again, down the comment section, put in your requests. I'll be happy to follow them up, but it's certainly not going to be in any great detail, because I don't think that many people are going to get a lot out of it. Lots of people are out of trades. Most people have one at best. A couple have 2 in the bank. And if you've got more than 2, then you're in a really good position. And I think you're going to end the season in a really, really strong way. So that's it for me for now, guys. Hope all is well, and I'll see you soon in the next one. Cheers, bye.